Whether it's your first trip or your first 10th trip or your first trip of the season, there's a little bit of excitement, a little bit of anxiety that might come with it. So I'm going to go through some of the tips that I have for making your first trip or your first 10th trip the best ever. Even though this is my 4th season with my Teardrop, I still remember my first because it was an unmitigated disaster. So let's get ready for the first trip of the season, shall we? I actually have the strap of the cover around the tongue jack, so I'm just going to leave it all right there. That way it doesn't flutter away. You gotta stay properly hydrated. So cast your mind back to 2021. We'd survived the great toilet paper shortage, and we were now elbow deep in the microchip shortage. I had decided that I wanted to up my game when it came to our travels, and I wanted a Teardrop. Now, my Corolla was going to be paid off May 2022. In October, I'm like, okay, it's going to be a few months. I might as well get my name in for a RAV, because that's what I wanted. So I get in there, I do all that, fine, no problem, cool. But a week later, I'm like, oh shoot. I'm pretty sure I mentioned to the guy that I wanted to tow, but I don't remember if I'd gotten the tow package. So I call him up and I was like, hey, I need a tow package. And the guy goes, listen, it's the only time I've met a dealer that didn't try to upsell you on everything. He goes, listen, go for an aftermarket. It'll be a little bit more affordable. So I checked on a bunch of forums and all that, and the general consensus was that if you have a vehicle that doesn't basically come with a tow package, going aftermarket is often better because that's all they do. So I was like, okay, cool. He goes, it's going to be about 2-3 months before you get your car. I'm like, awesome. I got time. So then I start looking for a Teardrop. Now, I couldn't afford a new one. Still can't afford a new one. So I bought a used one. Kid was cool. He took it to the Ministry of Transportation once we made the deal. My friends came, picked me up, and dropped it off here. Awesome. Then I did what probably everyone would do, and I binged everything. Which was good in some ways to prepare me for a Teardrop. Like, I'd never had one, I'd never towed anything. But it did bite me in the buttock region, and I will explain more. So 2-3 months pass. I still don't have a car. I start calling the guy like once a month. I'm like, hey, just any idea? And he finally calls me back around mid-May, and he goes, yeah, it's going to be here between June 3rd, June 11th. So I go, okay, well, I'd prefer the 3rd. He goes, well, it's kind of not up to you. It's just that's when it's scheduled to be here. Okay. Then I call the hitch place, and I say, hey, this is what's going on. I need to get a hitch installed. Well, it'll be a couple of weeks. I said, well, here's the thing. I kind of have vacation. I think it was the following Friday. So like, if I picked up on the 11th, it would have been around like the 17th. I said, can I get in there earlier? And they go, okay, hold it. Yeah, we can squeeze you in. Cool. Same thing with the tire guy. I call up a tire place. They go, yep, we can fit you in. Cool. So the hitch was going to get installed on the Wednesday. Tires get done on the Thursday. So I get the hitch installed, no problem. Bring my car home. I take my new baby for a drive around the neighborhood, basically. And I, didn't go far because it was getting late in the day and I kind of didn't want to be out on the road in the dark. And I practiced some backing, but it was in a small parking lot just to kind of get the feel of things. It's one of those things, you're going to have to just practice anyway. So then I take the car for tires on the Thursday. I drop it off in the morning. About mid-afternoon, I get a phone call. Tires are done. Awesome. You need new bearings. What? Yeah, you need new bearings. I said, well, I've got a vacation plan. Like, do I need to get them done now? He goes, well, where are you going? I'm going to the East Coast. He goes, yeah, no, that would not be good. It's too far. So now, I could have easily rescheduled my plans, left the following day, whatever, but I didn't want to be my first trip, especially in Ontario, because traffic is horrendous at the best of times, on a Saturday. I'm scrambling to get someone who can see me, and a lot of people don't even do bearings. So finally I found a Canadian Tire, and they said, yeah, we can fit you in. So now I went from 40 minutes from home to the tire place, and about 45, 50 minutes to this Canadian Tire. I get there, and it's maybe an hour and a half after I called this guy. I show up, and I'm like, hey, I'm here to see, whoever, because they rent hoists. And they're like, okay, cool, and they page him. They page him. Then they start doing the old, hey, have you seen whoever? Turns out he left early and didn't tell anyone that this person with a teardrop is coming in for bearings. So the manager took pity on me, and he brings me in, and he backed it in, because I was just like, I don't want to be a bother. Just do it. So he jacks the trailer up, and he goes, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with your bearings. There's no play. So I go, well, the tire guy told me that they were shot. And he goes, well, who are you going to listen to, the tire guy or me? I'm like, no. I'm listening to you. I am listening to you. I was just like, this is why I was such a panic. So he greased my bearings. Sounds kind of dirty. He packed my bearings. That sounds even worse. He took care of the bearings, sent me on my way, and he didn't charge me as much as he could have. So that was nice. He cut me a bit of a deal. He probably saw the look of desperation and me going like, I just want to take my trailer for a drive. So I get home and I start packing. And this was one of the ways that all of my binging backfired, because I bought everything. If someone had it, I'm like, I need to have that. If you look at every 10 best list, probably about 5 or 6 of them are the same. You might get 2 or 3 that are unique. Yeah, I think I had probably 40 things from a gajillion other places. I had everything. So my misspent youth of playing Tetris certainly came in handy. Next morning, we head out. Now there's 2 ways that you can go across. Well, there's more than 2, but there's 2 main ways that you can go across the province. The 401, which is a major highway with the average speed limit of 100 kilometers, 60 miles, or the 7, Highway 7, which is much more rural, much nicer, and lower speed limit, usually around 80 or 50 miles. So I took Highway 7. I somehow got into my head that my tires could not go more than, I think, 80 kilometers. So I didn't want to go on the highway. I don't know why. I looked at them later. I'm like, there's no problem with going on the highway, but for some reason I got in my head, I can't go more than 100 kilometers or I'm going to have a blowout. Or sorry, 80 kilometers. I'm going to have a blowout. So Highway 7 it was. And it was great because it's much slower, lots of stops, much more leisurely, prettier, and you don't have all the transport trucks riding on your back bumper. But it was white knuckle the whole time. Because, and I don't fault the people who are presenting this material because it is very important. They made it sound like if you were not perfectly balanced, front to back, left to right, a butterfly's fart would send you over a chasm. Like I said, white knuckling my way across Highway 7. Every bump, every breeze, every gust, every truck passing me, giving me the one finger salute. I was doing the limit. Let me phrase that. I didn't go over the limit. I wasn't too far under the limit. I was legal in every way. Tell that to the drivers. There's legality. But the level of anxiety I felt was just next level. We leave home, fine. Do some nice little stops. And then it starts to rain when we get into Quebec. Cool. Now, if I thought my anxiety was through the roof with clear skies, just worried about that little... You could not believe how bad it was once it started to rain. Now, I'm one of those people who will happily admit that I might get a little heavy on the gas pedal when it's, ideal weather conditions. But when it's rainy, I tend to become a lot more, shall we say, conservative in gas usage. After a while, I get into a truck stop, and I started to back the trailer up, and then I'm just like, no, I don't need to. It's in like one of those stalls, like one of those truck stalls, so it's fine. Now, the dogs, I had been trying to get them used to the trailer, and Lily and I had Leo at the time. They were fine. They were just like, I'd pitch them in, not really. I'd chuck them in, throw some treats, and they were just happy as anything. King is actually, for all his bluster and his meatheadedness, he's a very insecure dog, and anything that's kind of out of the ordinary, it throws him right off. So getting him into the trailer was a bit of I had to use all my persuasive abilities and lots of treats. And then once he was in, he would try and bolt his way out. So I had to like body block him to stay in, just to be like, dude, like chill. You're gonna, this is gonna be fine. So then that first night, I get him in, and it's raining, and it's funny. They love to swim. They hate the rain. So the rain kind of helped me in this case, because he's raining, it's gross, and then I'm like, hey, come on in, it's nice and warm. A little nudge, and he ran up the stairs, and then he kind of went, oh, this is okay, this is cool. Cool. So we had a great night. We slept. Get going the next morning. It's still cloud, a little bit of drizzle, but it was okay. So then we're going across New Brunswick. And I'm taking the scenic route. We're going through the middle. It's all forests and rivers. It's lovely. I find like a boondocking site. And this boondocking site was exquisite. Right near a river. I come off the highway. We have this beautiful site. So I'm driving along, and I'm on a track. It's not even a road. It's just like a single track. And I'm looking, and we go past 2 or 3 sites, and then we get to a spot where it gets really full. Like the trees kind of grow over the track, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going down there. I'm not going to scratch my paint already. The car's like a week old. Not to be a week old at that point. Not knowing that, give a few years and some dogs in the Yukon would scratch it up for me, but no big deal. But then I see this woman come out, emerge from the trees, and she's got a couple of dogs, and right behind her is a camper. So I guess they had either gone down there, they scouted down there, and they were leaving, or whatever. They were looking for spots. Well, now I've got my dogs losing their mind at the sight of these other dogs, and this camper coming right at me, because it's just like it emerged from the trees. So now I'm like, oh, shoot. So the panic of like, I don't want to be back. So I start to back up, and I managed to get off the track enough for the camper to go by me. Great. So I'm like, okay, well, this is a good spot where I'm at. So I hop out. I kind of plan my parking. I get out. I back up. And I'm backing up, and then I can't back up anymore. It's like, oh, what's going on? So I get out, and I backed into a tree. Now, luckily, I was going slow enough that there was no damage to either tree nor trailer. Well, that was a little embarrassing. I do the old, no one saw it, it's all good. So then I plan my route, back up, 98-point turn. I get the trailer parked. Again, I jump out, I get the dogs' long lines. I bring the dogs out. I'm like, this is great. This is awesome. Holy crap, there's black flies everywhere. Everywhere. They were flying into my eyeballs. There were so many. So I had that brief moment of, well, do I put up the screen tent that I had, which of course I bought because I saw it online, or do we just get into the trailer? And the dogs were miserable. And I'm like, there's no way that I can I will be eaten alive before I even have, the thing unzipped. So, okay, so I throw the dogs into the trailer, and if King didn't love the trailer before, he certainly did then. because he was miserable with these black flies. I grabbed some like beef jerky and dried fruit from my massive store of food, which of course, because I was, packing for an entire army. And, we spend the night. We had lovely views of the river. And during the course of the night, I kind of wake up and I'm like, oh, my hand feels a little funny. No big deal. Well, the next morning I wake up and my hand is so swollen, I could barely use it. I couldn't even like bend my fingers. It was like, eh. It reminded me of the time I actually had surgery on this hand when I was a kid. They thought I had bone cancer. And when I woke up from the anesthesia, because they knock you right out, my whole hand was bandaged like this, like just little nubs of my fingers sticking out. Well, being the 90s, of course, what did I wear but button fly jeans? So there I am, drugged to the gills, with just my little nubs of fingers sticking out of the bandages, leaning against the wall, trying to do my pants up. That's what that reminded me of. My hand was like little sausages. Now, another thing you might not know about King is he's very intuitive. So when someone is not well, he becomes very needy and very sucky, and he won't leave them alone. This guy, anytime I was with him, he would just lick my hand because he was trying to make it feel better. He's a sweet meathead, he really is. So I grab the dogs, take them out for a quick walk, throw them into the car. We're going to find someplace else where we're not getting eaten alive or donating to the local blood bank. And I pull out my first aid kit. I had left my antihistamines at home because it had expired. So there I am, useless hand, no antihistamines at all. That was fun. So remember what I said about buying everything? I've got tarps, I've got ropes, I've got bags. Most of them are still in their packaging. This is a tongue jack. Do you want to know how many times I've used it? Never. But I keep it because you know what? You never know. Yes, I've got this raised to get some air circulation under there. I get some antihistamines. Cobra chickens have arrived. I get some antihistamines. I'm chugging that back like fine. You don't realize how much you use your left hand when you drive until you can't use your hand to drive. Put my hand on the steering wheel, bakes in the sun. I put my hand on my lap, depending on the sun, it bakes it. The only place where I had no problem was down by the door. Now that's a problem because you need to signal. So I made it work eventually. This is all mud from the Dempster, even though I've hosed this thing off so many times. And the Alaska Highway. So we drive the Cabot Trail, go through Cape Breton Highlands. It's lovely, absolutely gorgeous. Highly recommend it. One of the most recommended drives in, I think, in the world, and for good reason. Not just Canadian pride, but definitely a little bit of that. So we head over to P.E.I, Prince Edward Island. Now that is the smallest province in Ontario, and is entirely an island. So there's two ways to get there. You can take a ferry, or you can take Confederation Bridge. Confederation Bridge is a very long bridge over a lot of water. Confederation Bridge, is a very big, very long bridge over a lot of water, as I said. So now we go back to the anxiety that I had from all of these YouTube people who made me think that a breeze is going to send us off into in this case, the depths of Davy Jones's locker. So, white knuckling across that bridge, we get to P.E.I. Now, P.E.I. kind of wasn't an option because a friend of mine had bought a cottage and they were taking possession of it like that day. So, like around that time. So we showed up, and this woman is just absolutely lovely. Just an absolute gem of a human being. And I love her to bits. So we met up with her, got there. Awesome. I'm stressed to the gills after this bridge. And she takes me on a tour of the island. And then we go to a seafood market. Did we ever pig out on seafood? Like 5 pounds of lobsters, 5 pounds of mussels. And I feel like there was something else. It was the picture of gluttony. Maybe scallop. No, I don't think scallops. It was just food on food on food. And she cooked it for us. And I was, of course the dogs got some of the lobster because of course they did. And then we went and we ended up camping out. We ended up camping out underneath a lighthouse. After pigging out with my friend, we find this lighthouse and camp out underneath it. Everything's beautiful, scenery's gorgeous, everything's lovely. And then the black flies strike again, and they weren't bad enough to make me lose any body parts or the use of any body parts, but it was pretty nasty. I've actually got photos where you can see this cloud of bugs just swarming the windows. And it really didn't matter. Ooh, that looks dark. It really didn't matter which side of the trailer was on. I mean, it was worse on the leeward side than it was on the windward side, the side downstream. But holy cow, I thought if I stayed where the wind was, it wouldn't be too bad. No, it was still pretty bad. So have a good night's sleep, get going the next day, and what's the next thing? Well, we have to leave the island. So there's another trip down the Confederation Highway, down the whatever they call it, the Confederation Bridge, and then you have to pay $50 to get off of the island. Now, fair enough, it's my fault that I didn't check into that because I'm thinking, oh, it's a bridge, but no. They $50 for my setup, and then we headed home, and that was the end of the big excitement. If you're going to take the trip across the south side of the St. Lawrence, I would definitely recommend, I think it's the 10 or 25. I think 10 is the one that's closer. It's more like a scenic tour. Take that. They had the little canteen, like little snack shacks, where you can get your lobster rolls. You can get poutine. It's not poutine. That's very not proper. If you don't know what it is, French fries, cheese curds, and it's got to be the squeaky cheese curds, none of the shredded cheese garbage. Cheese curds and gravy. Are you trying to tell me it's bedtime? Hey, it's not bedtime. Your bedtime is 8. It's not 8. King, it's not bedtime yet. Comfy? You're silly. You're silly. So you have it. That was my first trip in the trailer. And ever since then, they've all been, you have the odd little bit of drama, but nothing at all like that. At least I've maintained the use of my hands. I mean, if you want to see another time when things went a little sideways, check out this video here. Thank you for watching. This is hard to navigate. Oh, there goes my knees. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. I know I say that with every video, and that's because it's true. You took time to help me get stuff done, and I appreciate it. Let me know what your future self would tell your past self. Let me know what you would tell your past self to avoid any heartache on the road. Share with your friends, families, coworkers, all of the above, and we are getting ready for a trip, so we will have some footage for you from the road soon. If you have anything that you want us to discuss, let me know in below. We'll talk to you later. See you out there. Safe travels.